welcome to this edition of Spirit at Work. Today, our guest is Dan Flowers, the CEO of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. Welcome, Dan.
Oh, hi. Nice to see you guys.
You too, Dan.
And thank you for coming. And want to ask right away, I'm sure a lot of people wonder, what's the food bank all about? What do you really do there? What kind of staff do you have? What's your focus from day to day?
Well, the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, based here in Akron. We serve an 8-county area. We are the central collection and redistribution point for, this year it'll be almost 20 million pounds of food that we will put into the community through a network of 450 soup kitchens, homeless shelters, and food pantries across 8 counties. And so it's a pretty, I call it kind of a spinal agency, in that, we're sort of at ground zero in the fight against hunger and really poverty, which is the main cause of hunger in the community anyway. If people have money, they just go buy their own food, Yes. People don't like to stand in line for groceries if they can go buy their own. Yeah, so, but, it's a key agency in the community, and I'm really proud of my association with the food bank.
Dan, Father Norm and I have been privileged over the years to talk to any number of leaders, professional in business, not-for-profit. And some of them have said that leadership is a sacred responsibility because of the number of people that are often entrusted to them, and they feel responsible for them. How many people would you say ultimately that you supervise in this 8-county area? Well,
there's 180,000 people in a year that will get food from the food bank through our, I don't supervise them, but that's where the gravity to me is. I just want to say, too, I love you guys. I'm really glad to have a chance to sit down and talk with you both. And if I have anything to offer, probably a lot of it is going to be things that I've heard from you over the years and books that I've read that you've suggested. So just before we get too far along, I want to let you know I'm really glad to be talking to you both. And so coming back to that question, I'm sorry, I had to say that. We have almost 50 people on our staff. We've got maybe 1,000 volunteers that come in during the course of a year. So, the directional responsibility, supervisory responsibility, mainly I'm focused on supervising myself, making sure that I'm where I need to be and everything else kind of falls into place. So.
Let me ask about that. With so many volunteers, again, they're not paid staff, so how do you give them guidelines, keep them accountable? They might say, hey, I'm not getting paid for this.
Well, I guess there's probably a couple thoughts on that. First off, volunteers are usually pretty motivated. But interesting, though, I think some of the most difficult situations I've had over the years, when you supervise people, there's always ups and downs with that and responsibilities that come with it, and sometimes difficult conversations that have to occur. But some of the harder ones over the years have been with volunteers that maybe might have been overzealous, or somehow, weren't working at a certain area or not. It can be very challenging, to help redirect volunteers. For the most part, let me say though, Food Bank's a volunteer-run organization. I mean, we've got over 1,000 people that come in, we depend on every day. The experience that we have with volunteers is overwhelmingly, hugely successful and important, critical for us. From starting at the top, with the board. The board of directors we have at the food bank is fantastic, and they're made up of individuals that could sit on corporate boards and be making money, that are sitting on the food bank board, and they contribute to the nonprofit sector. A lot of people miss this, but I believe that the nonprofit sector in this country is the best of what a free market system can bring in charity. All of these nonprofit agencies, the food bank included, exist because of the will of the community. Now, the board is made up of volunteers in the community, and it is an expression of the community's charitable interest. When that interest goes away, the food bank goes away, or any other charity. So people miss that the sector itself is a part of the free market spirit of compassion and charity that we have here in the local community. That's why the food bank is strong.
Thanks.
Along the way, in your own growth and development as a leader, obviously some folks have recognized you as being a very effective leader. And that prompts the question from me, in your opinion, what does it take to be an effective leader?
I don't know, like, if there's one thing, I think every situation calls for a different response. I think when you add them all up, maybe that might say that these outcomes of this career has been effective. I can think of some things that people have taught me along the way and things that I've done that seem to yield good results. You know, I had someone tell me once, take care of the shop and the shop will take care of you. Get out and take a walk every week. You know, in 2000, I made a New Year's resolution that I would never go home with any papers on my desk, and I haven't missed a day. You know, so there's little things like that. I try to be responsive. You know, more than anything else, though, I think it's really about the way relationships with people are managed, and I fail every day. You know, I fall short every day in how I'm going to respond to people against what I hope to be to them. But I think that overall, if I can act in a loving way with people, that to me is what I think has helped more than anything, because we all need help. And no one can manage their own lives on their own. So to think that you can manage an organization on your own is crazy. So it's really about sort of connecting with people, I think. You know, I wish I had more for you on that. I don't know.
No, well, the resolution that you made in 2000, I seem to make every year to keep paper off my desk. How are you able to stay committed to that resolution? How are you able to actually achieve what you're resolved to do?
I mean, I think that is just you know, an expression of what I believe is really critical in an organization is being squared away. You know, I saw a study once that says that 65% of people think that nonprofits are poorly run. And that concerns me. And I think one of the ways that an organization can distinguish itself is by being squared away, so that when people come in, they have confidence that you are being a good steward of their donor dollars. People want to see an agency being run properly, that's clean, you know, where the staff have good morale and their shirts are tucked in. You know, little things that we can do can instill confidence in the donors. At the end of the day, it's about feeding people and fighting hunger. But when folks walk through that food bank, they have one shot, you know, at making that first impression. And so, you know, I think from a management perspective, making sure that your organization is squared away, you know, has been key, at least for our leadership. Oftentimes when people walk through the food bank, they comment on, you know, it's bigger than I thought it would be, and it's super clean.
And that matters, those first impressions.
You bet it matters. It matters more than most people think, and a lot of businesses miss that fact. You got to be squared away if you want people to be confident in what you do.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dan. We're going to take a break here in a moment, and we'll be right back to follow up on more questions with our guest today.